Ink's in here.
Ink's in here.
He's our number one bit leader for
Not much longer.
a little while longer. All right, I'm ready. But enough of this chit chat.
A-hole.
Let's do this. We're here, FeatherFall TableTalk. It's Thursday. We're talking Nick Cage movies, obviously, like we do.
I do feel like that is a common thing that we do around these parts.
It's always debatable. It's always fun, and there's just an endless stream of content because he's always making movies.
I feel like it may not always be fun, though.
Yeah, you either love them or you hate them, and those don't go together. But anyway, we're going to talk we're back on this Unearthed Arcana train where we're going to talk some subclasses tonight for the Cleric, the Druid, and the Wizard. I think this completes all, like, one new subclass for everybody, every class. So I imagine they'll kind of take a break. But anyways, we're FeatherFall Tabletop. You can find us everywhere at that name, at such. FeatherFall TT here on Twitch and Twitter. We got a Discord down below. You should check it out. Come on in and hang out with us. We got some one-shots going on. We got one coming up at the end of this month for the Curse of Sapphire Lake, the Skull Splitter. What is that? Skull Splitter Kickstarter. I got that in there. So we're going to run that on the channel. Should be pretty fun. We are sponsored by Skull Splitter, which is kind of cool. You need some dice. Use code FeatherFall at checkout for 10% off. We are also sponsored by Found Familiar Coffee. You can see they're creeping up on the bit leader. They've been blowing up our chat lately, and we truly appreciate it. But you can go to their website. What is it? Foundfamiliar/#Feather. Tell me what
Foundfamiliar.com
/#Featherfall. Use FeatherFall in checkout. Get yourself 10% off. I do think they were running a buy one get one half off. So if that's still going, use that. I doubt it will pair with our coupon code, but use our affiliate link and let them know we sent you. It's all good. You get some coffee, and they're pretty cool dudes hanging out in chat. So check them out. I think that's it. Housekeeping done. No, we need to promote our content. My daughter's yelling at me. Promote our content. Tuesdays, The Gods We Know, episode 2 coming up real quick. They had a pretty awesome episode 1. I had a great time. I was giggling my ass off watching those guys go at it. We, the three of us, are in a campaign called The Ghosts of the Past. I almost forgot. It's that G. The Gods We Know, The Ghosts of the Past. The Ghosts of the Past, which is a continuation of our Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. We've taken our characters on the road, and we are leaving Waterdeep for some homebrew DM'd by Bob here. And we're going to fight a dragon here real quick. So, I mean, if you want to see that, come check us out on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock Central Time, excuse me. And then here, Thursdays at FeatherFall TableTalk, 6:30 Central Time, where we talk D&D stuff or role-playing stuff. We're going to open it up to whatever. But yeah, okay. Housekeeping done. I just wish there was a way to make that faster. But you got a lot to say. Anyway. Okay, so we're talking Unearthed Arcana. We got some more subclasses coming out. This is, like I said, the cap of them, I think. Unless they're going to give us like a round 2 for each class. But I don't think that would happen. We've gotten one subclass for each class. And tonight we're going to try to get through them all, I think. We'll see how far we go. But we have the Cleric, the Druid, and the Wizard. I think I want to start with the Cleric. We'll just, on the document as is, we'll just start there. And again, this is playtest content, so if you use it, make sure you fill out the survey on their website and let them know the feedback and what you kind of encountered with them so that we get a better subclass in the end of this. So anyway, let's talk about Clerics. I haven't played a Cleric for more than a one-shot, so it's something new to me, so we'll kind of dive through this together. So, at first level, a Cleric gains the Divine Domain, and that's what this is. They get the Twilight Domain. That is the subclass here. The Twilight Domain governs the transition and blending of light into darkness. It is a time of rest and comfort, but also the threshold between safety in the unknown. Deities of healing or respite, such as Boldre, Hestia, Mishakal, or Pelor. I'm doing my best. Bravery or protection, such as Dol Ara, Hajam, Helm, and Ilmater. We know Ilmater. Travel or transition, such as Faharlagan. Not correct. Hermes, the Raven Queen, or the Traveler. Or the night dreams, such as Celestian, Morpheus, Nut, and Saloon. Nut? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that's
kind of cool.
Morpheus the Morpheus?
The Morpheus. Take the red pill. So these gods might grant their clerics the Twilight Domain. So that's kind of cool, is you can, no matter what kind of pantheon or god class you want to pull from, they might bestow upon you this. So it's not secluded to a certain sect of gods. But clerics who serve these deities tend to be brave, delving into the dark to hold its dangers at bay, and to bring comfort to those lost far from the light. There we go. Twilight Domain. What do we think?
I think it's fun. I think so right off the bat, just the flavor text is enough to make me want to try and play it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you're kind of like a you know, the light in all of the evil is a cheesy way to put it.
Yeah. Travis?
This one was the most interesting to me of all three. I really like how it's blending the light and the dark in some interesting ways. You get the unlimited distance dark vision, and there's a lot of really cool things in here that you could sorry, they bode well for role playing and for like combat and stuff. It gives a lot of options, and so it's really cool.
Yeah. And I like this idea of, nighttime is that time of rest and healing. So it's nice to have somebody kind of watching over you, and that would be the Twilight Domain cleric. But I wrote down it's like Freddy Krueger's nightmare. Like, Freddy Krueger hunts in the night and waits for you to fall asleep. Well, if you've got a Twilight cleric, you're going to be kind of, you'll be protected at least a little bit. So I like that idea. And especially if you take like an elf as a race, now you're staying up even later. You only have to have those 4 hours, or there's something out there that you can not have to sleep anymore. I think that's a warlock thing. But anyway, so yeah, I like the flavor of this. After reading through some of the abilities, I kind of like good, not great for me. Yeah. And Travis, you said this was your favorite out of these three that we'll talk about tonight?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. All right.
It is. I like what they're doing with the features and stuff that you get, because they don't feel overpowered. They're helpful, but they're not. Okay. They're not OP, I guess. And I kind of like that, because in a lot of them that we've gone through, they've seemed a little powerful in the right hands. Well,
and two, I think the cleric naturally is kind of powerful, just as a base cleric, and then you get your subclass, your domain flavors. So I think it's still going to be a powerful. So they're not like putting power on top of power. They're letting it level out a little bit, I think. But so first level with this, you get bonus proficiency. So you gain martial weapons and heavy armor. So you can be that meat shield, and you can carry some big ass weapons. I like that. And you also get Eyes of the Night. Your eyes are blessed, allowing you to see through the deepest gloom. You have dark vision with no maximum range. You can see the dim light as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light.
That to me,
as an action. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that to me is probably the most interesting. Even as we're talking in our game now, it is a lot of flavor just by itself of dark vision, right? So dark vision has always been like this, flavorful text, and now they're just making it more so, right?
Yeah. I think not having dark vision is awesome to roleplay, right? Because now you're bumbling, you're stumbling, you miss a shot in the dark, you have something to kind of pin it on and roleplay with.
Right.
So sometimes having dark vision, or maybe the DM doesn't hold you accountable to that dark vision very much, so it's not really a key factor. So if you have a DM that holds you accountable to dark vision, I think this would be great. but I could see playing it like it's almost maybe a frustration to you that everything's so bright all the time. You know, I don't know, but as a Twilight Cleric, you're probably, you know, that's what you're into, but you could play that up. But wait, there's more. You get more with this. So not only do you have dark vision, unlimited range, maximum range, with no maximum range, let me say that. As an action, you can magically give the benefit of this feature to any number of creatures you can see within 10 feet of you.
Wow.
The shared benefit lasts for 10 minutes. You can extend this benefit a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all on a long rest. So not only are you able to see in this dungeon, but your whole party. If you're traveling with a bunch of humans or halflings, among others that don't have dark vision, like you can bestow upon them, right? And again, if you have a DM that like holds you accountable, it's dark in here, you don't have dark vision, disadvantage, right?
Right.
I think this is going to help out. That's going to kind of even the playing field a little bit. And at first level, like, we're getting it early, so I like it.
I like it. I think it's great. I mean, I think like Travis said, hey, what's that sound familiar? That number 2 badge with that goblin sub badge is looking pretty good. But so I think it's great, and I think what Travis said was perfect in the fact that it is flavor. This to me is more akin to the Lurker in the Deep and the Aberrant Mind. Only in the fact that it adds so much flavor to the game, right? So it's adding flavor to the game, and for our group, it is so great in the fact that it just adds to that role play. And our group is very well known, not like amongst outside of ourselves, but is very well known for our role play, right?
My wife
knows we're good.
Because I tell her. Yeah, and again, not game breaking. Cool ability to add. Yeah, I like it. You get more at first level, guys. We're not done.
Whoa!
Like, slow down.
For an extra $9.99.
Vigilant Blessing at first level. The knight has taught you to be vigilant. As an action, you give one creature you touch, including possibly yourself, advantage on the next initiative rolls the creature makes. This benefit ends immediately after your roll, or if you use the feature again.
Should you be touching
again?
yourself?
Something. What's up?
What?
No, you'll go blind. Anyway,
just let that simmer for a bit.
Keep this on track. So yeah, you're kind of. Let's say you got a monk with a solid dexterity, and you want to make sure they go first. Bestow them with this vigilant blessing. Right now, guaranteeing the best you can to go first, and maybe, you know, depending on what the mission is, you need them to run in there, grab something, and run out. Like, why not?
So crazy, and this to me, it can be. It's not game breaking, but it is very overpowered at first level, right? So you can do it whenever you want, as long as you don't have it already done, right? So say I grant, you know, Jax advantage in one battle. We have that battle. I can immediately grant Valerian or even Jax again advantage right after that, and it lasts until the very next battle.
Yeah, so that you touch one on the next initiative roll. Yeah, so if you have one battle, second, I mean, there's no limit, right? It's just,
well, there's no like duration is the biggest. I think the biggest missing keyword here is that you can do it immediately after, and it lasts. Just in case you forget, it lasts until your next battle.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think maybe we might want to, you know, rein that in a little bit.
But then does it... Okay, right. So the thought is, does it get broken? You don't know when your next battle is going to be.
Right, so that is an issue. And if you're truly being touched by a god, right, I think they have some sort of staying power.
That's just what they told you.
But, so in the traditional rules of D&D, like, you get... Is it in the? I'm trying to think of how to say this. I don't adhere to this idea, but I think it's in the Dungeon Master's Guides where it's saying like you should typically encounter, like have 7 encounters a day.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Not all combat, right? You have social encounters, you have other things, right? But let's say 4 of those are a combat encounter. There you go. But how many times, like the rooftop chase we had in Waterdeep? It would have been nice to have somebody near the top of that initiative order. You know, so that's an encounter where we didn't fight anybody, but we are moving in initiative order. So I kind of like it, and a well-placed cleric is going to be able to use that at the right time. And
I mean, spoiler alert, though, you weren't going to win that no matter what.
Yeah, but there were some times where it's like, man, I wish I was one bump up on that initiative tracker. Like, just there was something I wanted to do, but he moved for just saying.
Yeah, I got you.
I did gloss over. You get some new spells here. You get access to some spells that you wouldn't normally as a cleric, and I saw sleep on there, and I'm pretty excited about that sleep. You know, that's a FeatherFall tabletop classic, which for the Twilight makes total sense if it can work. You know, I think sleep is one of those weird spells. Like, it's hard to use, but at a first level, you're getting some kobolds or some goblins, you know, with low level hit points. I think it's going to be great, but again, sure. It's a weird one. You also get darkness and invisibility, and so some other ones. Leomund's Tiny Hut, that's a favorite.
Dude, Leomund's Tiny Hut is
that's a savior.
Yeah, if you had that in the tomb, I mean, you would be set.
Yeah. Yeah. So in my Storm King Thunders game, we had a bard who had Leomund's Tiny Hut. The bard died, and it was the greatest thing ever, because now we're out in the wilderness, and all these encounters at night are now going to start hitting because they're not in their little tiny hut. So, but yeah, good spell. At level 2, moving along, this is where your channel divinity starts to come into play, and you can create a Twilight Sanctuary. You can use. Sorry, I'm thinking of the stupid Twilight movie. They have to put it in a sanctuary because it's so bad. People hate it.
I keep thinking of Twilight Princess with all of this.
It's a Zelda game.
Yeah.
For the Wii.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. But Twilight Sanctuary. You can use your channel divinity to refresh your allies with soothing twilight. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and a sphere of twilight emanates from you. The sphere is centered on you and has a 30-foot radius. So that's like 60 feet, right? Diameter. Yeah? I always get those mixed up.
Yep.
You'd think I'd learn. But yeah, so 60 feet, that's a huge circle. And it's filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you, and it lasts for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you can grant that creature one of these benefits. Give 1d8 temporary hit points, or end one effect causing it to be charmed or frightened. So you can end a charm or a frighten, or you can give temp hit points. That's a huge radius, and all you have to do is start your turn there.
Yeah.
Or end your turn in there. So you're giving yourself up to 8 temporary hit points. Now, they don't stack. We remember that from the other subclass we looked at that granted temporary hit points. So they don't stack, but you can always be up. I wonder how that's going to work. So if they don't stack, you have a maximum of 8. So let's say you roll a 6. You take some damage. You take 2 damage. And then it's your turn again, and you roll another one. Can you fill it up to 8? How would you rule that, Bob, as a DM? Would 8 be the max that you could give?
I would have you just re-roll, and it just starts fresh.
And then that's okay. All right. That's probably easier. I was thinking too hard. But you could fit your whole party within that 60-foot radius, and now you don't have to do anything, right? As an action, you present. So it's an action to get it up, but then it's just there for a minute, which is most combats.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to do a concentration check if you're taking damage on something like this.
Well, and so, okay. So at second level, you're fighting again, kobolds, stuff like that, smaller stuff, and you have this sphere that gives you essentially another level of HP. Or guess what? You can't be frightened, or you can't be charmed. It's pretty big.
This is a boost. So with those, I think you get 2. You might only get 1 channel divinity at this level, and then I think you crawl up to 2. At most, you're going to have 2 here, but I think it's 1. Again, I haven't played a cleric, so I'm not totally positive. But so you got to pick the right time.
Yeah.
But man, if you got somebody out there that's just charming you or frightening you, because that could turn the tides of a battle quickly. If you all of a sudden you have half your party frightened,
agreed,
and they're running the other way, run to me, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll get that taken care of. But all right.
For what it's worth, on the temporary hit points, the player's handbook does say that it's up to you to decide if you want to keep the new ones or the ones that you had, if you have to roll more.
Okay.
I mean, obviously the DM could override that, but that's at least what the book says. So, for example, if you already have 10 and you roll for 12 for another set of temporary hit points, you can choose to have the 12 or the 10.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so you're going to have a chance to at least replenish or get up to 8 every single time. Man, that's kind of powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're constantly just sitting there in this aura of, like, temporary hit points that, okay, so you take a hit, but guess what? My turn again. I'm back up to whatever.
There's a newer ranger spell that came out in Xanathar's Guide it's kind of like this. I can't remember it's like Spirit Guardian or something. And it's like this health shrine that is now set up that your players can run to, be in its aura, get healed up, and then go out back into the fray, right? It's kind of like that. So there's some definite similarities there. But I like it. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it could be cool. I think you're that beacon on the battlefield of hope and replenishment. And being what a cleric does, right? Cleric is stereotyped as the healer, and I think this maybe further solidifies that stereotype.
So I like the flavor text that it provides, anyways. Just in the fact that a beacon of twilight, emanates from you.
Yeah, you can make that look a lot of different things. Maybe it's just like a rolling fog for you, or it is this beam of light that comes down. And
so, okay, I did just rewatch Lord of the Rings, and if I don't know how familiar you all are with the movies, when they're at the Battle of Helm's Deep at the very end, Gandalf says, "Look to the west," and at the rise of the next day or whatever. When he rides over, and that's just his large light happening, and it's the same thing when he's riding out to save the riders of Rohan from the Nazgul. Dude, I'm a major nerd, by the way. I love these movies. That beacon of light comes from his staff. I imagine that this is exactly what that could look like, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I love the pulled back view of maybe you're in like Misty Forest or something, and all of a sudden just this beam of light is either coming down at you or up, but you can see it, and like good things are happening. Yeah. So you don't get anything here in the domain until 6th level, so you do get your normal cleric shit.
Stuff.
Sorry. Are we trying to keep it clean?
Yes.
You get an ability score improvement. You get some destroy undead, and then now we are back into our divine domain feature. At 6th level, you get Steps of the Brave. You draw strength from your connection to Twilight and find yourself at home within its dark embrace, gaining 2 benefits. You have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. If you are in dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to magically give yourself a flying speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your next turn. So if you're in dim light or darkness, you can now fly. I think it's cool.
But I don't get it.
Well, I'm imagining again that deity is looking down upon you, and within the darkness, it is now propelling you up, propping you up, giving you greater movement. Looking out for you. That's the opposite of the warlock, where the patron is kind of like slyly looking out for you. This, I imagine clerics they're always like aiding you in a positive way, and that's how I would tie this in. Like, I'm now just moving you around as like a glorified mage hand, picking you up, and it's harnessing that twilight magic, right?
Yeah.
That the dim dark light, it's helping you out.
I like it.
Not game breaking at all, not overpowering, kind of cool. Again, imagine the first time your party sees you fly, because you don't get this until 6th level. So I imagine if you start your party at 3rd level, you're going to have a lot of time together, and then now all of a sudden, boom, you're flying in the dark. I like it, I think this will pair well with something coming up here at level 17, and I'll talk about that when we get there. So you get that at 6. 7, you don't get anything. You don't even get nothing. Some more spell slots, but that's okay. At level 8, you get Divine Strike. You gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 psychic damage. When you reach 14th level, it goes to 2d8. So, psychic damage, not a lot is immune to psychic damage.
So, I mean, but that's like paladin 1st level stuff.
Yeah, that's like, what is it, the smites?
Divine Smite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. So, it's fine.
Yeah.
The 2nd level. Divine Smite 2nd level.
It's fine. It's fine.
I think the psychic kind of adds some interesting flavor for After Effects or something. That's kind of cool. But I feel like this is maybe 8th level is a little too high for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't normally do a lot of psychic damage, but on the positive side, not much is immune to psychic damage. So, again, if you're finding something with...
We went over that, though. It is. Like, there's a lot of spells that were psychic damage. It was more
were
than...
there?
Yeah, there was probably, I think, 10 spells that had psychic damage. So, I mean, not a lot, but it wasn't the smallest.
But less than there being spells that do psychic damage, more like the creatures you are fighting are not going to be resistant or immune to psychic damage most often. So,
yeah.
And again, you get through creatures that are immune to non-magical attacks. Now you're giving yourself a little magic on top of there, or the psychic damage on top of there, to kind of cut through some of those resistances. I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, we saw this thing kind of peak at level 2 with that sanctuary, and now we're kind of leveling out, and I think that's an okay thing, right? We talked about this before with other classes, kind of their hills and valleys come at different areas, different levels. This one kind of peaked a little early. But last thing you get, Midnight Shroud. And I think this would pair well with your flying. You can harness the shrouding power of night to protect your allies and stymie your foes. Whenever you cast the darkness spell using a spell slot, you can choose a number of creatures that you can see, including yourself, equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum of 1. The chosen creatures can see through the darkness.
That's such a weird, oddly worded sentence.
It is.
Okay, so when you cast darkness, you can choose creatures. End of sentence. The chosen creatures can see through the darkness. Why don't you just say you can choose creatures to see through the darkness equal to you? Anyway,
it's a little rough, but
I mean, that's not really that great for me. I mean, darkness is interesting spell. So I think Critical Role did it very well in the sewers. If you haven't watched the newest one, whatever. In the sewers, darkness is hard. Man, we're dropping a lot of frames tonight. So darkness is almost impenetrable for the most part. Once you're in it, you can't see. So if you're not familiar with the spell, it creates an orb of darkness that nothing can penetrate, no light, no nothing. So even if you cast light in there, it stymies it to... So interesting. It's almost like a good escape, but at 17, man, you don't need to escape.
Yeah. But it would be cool to be in the darkness, and then all of a sudden now you could fly, and you are now moving in a 3-dimensional space. So if you're in there with a villain, you're able to go up where they may not expect you to go up.
Oh yeah, because you can fly now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
but imagine just fighting a boss or something that's in the darkness and it can't see. I mean, it doesn't help you a whole lot, except, I mean, I guess that they can't see you, it can. But it seems like it'd be kind of a fun way to make a fight kind of give it a terrifying type feel to it. It's cool. Again, it's
then you become Batman. I mean,
in your heart. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, in the chat, we're calling out this is Batman. Okay, I get it. This is Batman.
Yeah.
But a healer, support Batman, maybe Batgirl, or Robin.
Robin,
the support
absolutely
characters
Robin.
To Batman.
There you go. Yeah, I like it. But yeah, I agree. At 17th level, like, you can already do some cool shit, and your adventuring party along with you can do some cool shit. Is darkness really, it might save your ass one time, but again, we're 17th level, we can do a lot of stuff. I don't know that darkness is really tickling my fancy here.
I like that it offers another way out of a simple battle instead of just forcing you to fight. It has its use, it's just not powerful. Again, 17th level, just weirdly high.
Yeah. I mean, we did gloss over some of the stuff you get in between those levels. You're picking up some more ability score improvements. Some Destroy Undead is now going up to CR4. Expanded spell slots. But yeah, there you go. So that's the Cleric. Overall, I kind of like it. I think there's some cool stuff there. Some flavorful things that you can obviously add to roleplay, which is kind of our focus. Not game breaking.
And the question in the chat, darkness, the sphere, it's 15 feet, and it 15 feet 15 all around. So
foot radius, yeah.
So I mean, 30 feet spherical. Start to finish. So that it's quite a bit.
Yeah. You can definitely get your party in there.
But okay, again, darkness. So maybe if this were a 17th level, maybe make. Just like it removes your limitation on dark vision, maybe expand the darkness sphere. So say, because not only you have to cast darkness, so that's the action, right? So maybe expand darkness to be a radius of 60 feet. Make it this giant thing that just shrouds the entire... And then it feels a little bit more 17th level
worthy.
Right, exactly. So expand darkness, make darkness bigger, because darkness is a 2nd level spell. Cool.
Yeah.
I can do that a long time ago, and guess what? In darkness, players are going to metagame anyways, and they're going to the only thing that happens, you get disadvantage on the attack.
Right. That's... Well, it adds to roleplay flavors, but the mechanics of the game, it's not that debilitating, right? Disadvantage, okay, that's a hindrance, I get it. But should it give everybody advantage? Let's say you're fighting in there. You can see them, they can't see you. Do you get advantage? Would that be something as a DM you would give? So now it's disadvantage versus advantage.
Yeah, I would grant advantage on that, I would think. In this situation, because there's not much else that allows vision in darkness.
Yeah. And I do like the idea of expanding the spell. I think that is making it a little more 17th level worthy. And I think if we're using this as a means of escape or rescue or something like that, that's going to open up the doors a little bit more, because now you're covering more area. Because 15-foot radius, 30-foot, that's not a whole lot. It's decent, but if you got a big boss room, it's not gonna
in your 17th level, you're fighting some big shit. You're fighting big things at this point.
It almost feels like Twilight Sanctuary and this one could be flipped or adjusted a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Twilight Sanctuary is pretty OP for first level. Or second level, sorry.
And as cool as those temporary hit points sound, it's being able to get your party back in the game and getting them out of charmed and frightened. Because if you got a guy like Templeton, who it would charm and frighten be a charisma save?
I think wisdom.
Okay. Or is that wisdom?
Yeah.
Like a character that's their dump stat, you're not getting them back in the game. Where if you can just come to me, heal that, okay, now you're okay. Just stick next to me, buddy, and you're back in the game.
So read Twilight Sanctuary again, by the way.
All right, let's do it.
Go word by word and analyze that sentence.
The opening, you can use your channel divinity to refresh your allies with soothing twilight. As an action, you present your holy symbol and a sphere of twilight emanates from you. The sphere is centered on you and has a 30-foot radius and is filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you and it lasts for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you can grant that creature one of these benefits.
So read that again. Whenever a creature,
including you, ends its turn.
So that's not just your allies.
That's not.
As a DM, but
it says you can grant, giving you the option.
There's the loophole. You can. So there is
I spent a lot of time thinking about this while we were talking about it. And that can is where I'm getting hung up on that, not necessarily forcing you to do it to an enemy.
That can is
I think it should be worded differently. Why don't you just say whenever a target you choose?
Yeah.
So much like any of the other targeting spells or ally centric spells,
right.
It says target you choose. So
it's different verbiage and let's keep it same.
And what's keeping you from just renewing this every single action?
Nothing.
This one needs some reining in. I think it needs some clarification, rather.
Yeah. I don't like the other sentence of the ability either. And one effect causing it to be charmed or frightened. Are you ending an effect and causing it to be charmed, or are you ending an effect that is causing it to be charmed?
You're ending the effect that's causing it to be charmed.
Right. Yeah. But again, it's a little misworded.
I mean, we're getting semantics here, but so just it happens all of the time. 1 out of every 5 tables is plagued with a rules lawyer. And every sentence is
going to be picked apart.
Doing what we're doing. You could make an argument for whenever a creature ends its turn.
Well, let's say you weren't paying attention. I'm a cleric, I'm on the battlefield, I'm not paying attention to what's behind me, and something enters. And I didn't have my firewall up. I didn't have my I was just letting. Now you just given an enemy, I don't know. There's some room to play with it there. I think it can be worded a little differently.
Yeah,
semantics.
Play testing. I mean,
but again, that's why we're going through this, right? It's play test material. This caused us to think twice about it. So, but overall, I like this one. I think it's a good addition to the clerics. There's a reason why I haven't played a cleric yet, just because there's nothing grabbing me there, and I don't know if this one will, but we're getting closer.
I think some clerics can be fun. I think plug for the gods we know, the grave domain that Desmond. I'm sorry, Desmond is playing, which is our very own Ink and Ignorance in the chat here. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. It sounds like it's kind of up my alley. Whereas a lot of these are meh. This Twilight Cleric does sound fun. It does sound like it can have a ton of flavor adds to the game. If you're playing a short game, sure, it can be OP right out of the gate. But from mine, it dies off quickly because by 8th level as a cleric. So how many spell slots do you get as a cleric?
Ooh.
By 8th level?
Let me check.
Because
loading.
Okay, this doesn't tell me. Why aren't you telling me?
8th level, you are at 1, 2, 3. You get up to 4th level.
So, all right. So 8th level, you get up to 4th level spell slots, and what you get as your class, you get Divine Strike. So you have 4 first levels, 4 cantrips, 3 second levels, 3 third levels, and 2 fourth levels. Are you really going to just be hitting with... Now, here's a thought. What about spiritual weapon? Would you permit spiritual weapon to use Divine Strike?
Is spiritual weapon a spell? That's not a cleric ability.
Yeah, it's a spell. Yeah.
Would you let that use Divine Strike?
I'm gonna say no. And again, reading. So spiritual weapon is a 2nd level spell. It's a bonus action. Reading this text specifically, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy once on each of your turns when you hit a creature with a weapon. When you hit a creature with a weapon. So that to me is like it's emanating from you as the cleric into your weapon as you strike.
It'd be kind of cool if you could, but I think as written, I don't think I'd allow it immediately.
So
right? You'd have to do some finagling.
Right. So you have you have 6, 10, 12. You roughly have 12 turns of higher powered spells. Are you ever going to be using your melee weapon?
Not a lot, man.
I don't think a lot. So I think adjusting Divine Strike to maybe earlier and maybe make Twilight Sanctuary, maybe swap those two, but might be good.
So maybe the build of this character needs to be a little bit different, right? Because at the proficiencies that you gain at the at first level, you're getting martial weapons. So maybe you are becoming more of the meat shield front line, and you're taking more support spells for your party. And now that's why that level 8 is going to be it's like a sneak attack. It's like, Divine Smite. It's helping your weapon attacks because you've taken so many support spells, because you want to focus on that healing and how do they do it? How do they say it in the bringing comfort and keeping dangers at bay? I think you're going to have to do that in order for that level 8 feature to really.
So you're not going to be a terribly supportive cleric here, right? So you're going to be a tank. You gain proficiency in heavy armor, so you're going to have to be a tank build. That makes sense. Twilight Sanctuary kind of works pretty good for a tank because every round you start your turn, you refresh 8 hit points, up to 8 hit points.
It's making a little more sense now.
I mean, but I don't think of clerics as... I mean, they are a tank class. Yes, you can absolutely 100% be a tank. I don't like clerics as tanks. I like clerics as, your support clerics who are helping keep the party afloat, who are, negating effects, who are there to just be the offensive buff that they can be.
Yeah, that's how I view them too.
Yeah. So, I mean... But I think this gives them a different option than the other cleric domains. Right now, we can make that tanky one, and we can make the one that is that beacon of energy that is healing constantly, giving temporary hit points, but standing in the front. Like, get behind me, you will get hit points. I will stand here and protect you all. I think. Let's have that option. I think it's a great option that kind of deviates from some of the other domains there. So
yeah. But see, Adam, I disagree with you. It makes a melee attack because, to be clear, this does not say you have to make a melee attack.
It says a weapon.
Once you hit a creature with your weapon. So if Jackson was a cleric and used his crossbow, he can use Divine Strike. That's where I would rule. It can be melee, it can be ranged. But I would rule as the DM, it has to be in your hands. Yeah. So your spiritual weapon is not in your hands, and I would probably rule against it because, I mean, it makes sense. But to me, as this class is being built, that makes sense to me in the fact that I don't know, I'm not hitting things as often as maybe I should as a cleric.
Imagine this. Would you spirit weapons don't have hit points, do they? It's just a concentration.
Right.
And there's a time frame, right? But imagine this, you get your spirit weapon up, you get your beacon of sanctuary up. You bonus action attack with your spirit weapon, attack with your weapon. So you're getting spirit weapon damage, your weapon damage, the divine, what is it? Divine strike damage. People are getting 10 hit points. There's a lot going on there. That's not happening. I
mean, but Adam, I disagree with you. I mean, but this is the fun of what we're doing. Yes, your spiritual weapon comes from your magical essence, but I still feel like the way this is written, Divine Strike is coming from you as you're holding this weapon. Like you're being infused with this power to hit it harder, not the spell you've already cast.
Let's go to that first line in the Divine Strike. You gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. I mean, to play devil's advocate, is spiritual weapon your weapon, in that connection with your god? I think we're kind of graying the lines here, and maybe. I think you'd have to make a case. I don't know. We need clarification. Please advise. Well, okay, so maybe it should, because we're saying at 8th level all you get is Divine Strike. Maybe it should be allowed to be in your spiritual weapon.
You know what? Maybe we should ask Unearthed Arcana. Rules.
Out, man.
Yeah, I think we should.
But 8th level, let's do that. Let's give it to him.
I mean, you could make an argument for either. I think
so.
I think you absolutely 100% could. In game, I mean, me reviewing it now, I would be like, nah. In game, I'd probably be like, oh, sure, yeah, I like this. Because I'm pro player in the fact that I like when players get, crafty, and I would, but this is where the playtesting comes in, because like you said, you're popping Twilight Sanctuary. You have spiritual weapon up. You now have Divine Strike on your spiritual weapon.
Yeah.
And so, but here's the other thing. Once on each of your turns, I had to read it again. Because what if it was every time you strike your weapon? Because that would be nuts. So I disregard.
Clerics don't get an extra attack, so that negates kind of that.
Yeah.
2 attacks at 5th level, but you do have your spirit weapon. So either way, you get it once per turn. So if you attach it to your spirit weapon or your physical weapon, I don't know. It's a D8 of damage. I'd probably rule on the side of the player and be like, yes, you could attach it to your spiritual weapon. Your spiritual weapon enlarges a little bit, maybe something flavorful like that. I'm not saying no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying no. But clerification in the chat there. That's a funny one. All right, I think we should move on so that we can get to these other ones. I mean, we could talk all night about clerics, but we got a Wildfire Druid out there. That I think this might be my favorite one of these 3. You guys ready?
Yes, sir.
You want me to read it?
Yes, sir.
Stick to theme.
All right. Circle of the Wildfire. So at 2nd level, druids get a circle that they can follow. Right. So Circle of the Wildfire comes at 2nd level. Druids who are members of the Circle of Wildfire understand the necessity of destruction, such as how a forest fire promotes growth. These druids bond with a primal spirit that harbors destructive tendencies, allowing the druids to use their power to create controlled flames that help flora and fauna reproduce and grow. I love this because it is the exact opposite of most druids, right? The tree-hugging druids that are like protect nature. No, this is like, man, we got to burn some of this shit out of here, clean it up, let it regrow. I like it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I like it. I mean, there is a lot to say about the destruction and the rebirth. So,
right.
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in living in Oregon, we have a ton of wildfires, and there's a huge debate. Do you clean and do controlled burns? Do you let nature do it? This is like a real thing, right? This is wildfires happen, and sometimes they can be controlled, but it needs to clean itself out. Nature does, and I think this is a druid stepping in, in our make believe, to help that happen. But again, like the cleric that we just talked about is maybe deviating from all the other circle or domains. This druid is deviating from all the other ones. So the tree hugging in a good way. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just
sure you're
nurturing of nature. This is the destruction of nature to have nature survive. Right? If you're going to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs, kind of thing. Travis, how do you feel about it? Yeah.
I like that it's a more grim, I don't know if grim is the right word, but take on the druid. The whole Phoenix aspect of it, burn it down to let it regrow different or better is cool. It adds, again, like a lot of these, it just adds a lot of flavor to the druid, and I think the druid kind of needed it. I don't know a lot about druids, but they're, like you said, tree huggy. It felt like it needed something to spice it up a little bit because they just kind of all feel similar.
Right.
When you tear apart when you take out the human personality of the character.
I feel like this lends more towards like a chaotic side to it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that, I think that is what is needed absolutely in druids, because it's there's a lot of druids that are lawful good and all this neutral. They're in the neutral, but this lends to that chaotic side that, man,
right.
I think it could add so much flavor.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all the times you'd have to justify in character your reasons for scorching the underbrush of this forest right here. Hey man, I'm just doing my job, right? So I like that flavor text. I think it's a great bit for druids. So you get some circle spells. You have formed a mystical bond with a wildfire spirit, a primal being of creation and destruction. Your link with the spirit grants you access to certain spells. At second level, you learn the Firebolt cantrip. When you reach certain levels in this class, you gain access to the spells listed for that level in the Circle of Wildfire spells table. Once you gain access to one of these spells, you always have it prepared, and it doesn't count against the number of spells you can prepare each day. You gain access to a spell that doesn't. If you gain access to a spell that doesn't appear on the Druid spell list, the spell is nonetheless a Druid spell for you. So you get Fireball as a Druid.
That's crazy.
You are now a Druid that is casting Fireball. You get Fire Shield, Flame Strike, Raise the Dead, Aura of Life, Plant Growth, Locate Plants and Animals, and Scorching Ray. I kind of read those in weird order, but my Warlock just got Scorching Ray, and that's pretty awesome, man, because you're firing 3 different bolts, 3 different attacks.
Yeah.
It's pretty badass. So again, you're able to
OP.
You're able to start 3 fires in different spots, if just to the kind of like jumpstart that fire, get it going. Like I can spread it around, Fireball. We know it, we love it. But I love the destruction. I love the idea of the chaotic kind of being, like you said, Bob. It's a good spin on a druid, right? Summon Wildfire. I think this is the coolest ability that this gets. I love this one. You can summon the primal spirit bound to your soul. As an action, you can expend 1 use of your wild shape feature to summon your wildfire spirit rather than assuming a beast form. So you get 2 of these at this level. 2 times you can do this, and you get them back on a short rest, which is kind of cool. The spirit appears in an unoccupied space of your choice you can see within 30 feet of you. Each creature within 10 feet of the spirit, other than you, when it appears, must succeed on a dex saving throw against your spell save DC or take 2d10 fire damage. Each creature, so that's like allies too.
Yep.
Right? It does not say. So 2d10 fire damage on a dex save. The wildfire spirit is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. So that's kind of contradictory statements right there. As it emerges and explodes, it might hurt your friends, but after that it's friendly. I don't know. But keep continuing. See this creature's game statistics in the wildfire spirit stat block below. You determine the spirit's appearance. Some spirits take the form of a humanoid figure made of gnarled branches covered in flame, while others look like beasts wreathed in fire. In combat, the wildfire spirit shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. The only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take one of the actions in its stat block, or to take the dash, disengage, help, or hide action. The wildfire spirit manifests for 1 hour until it is reduced to 0 hit points, or until you use your wild shape again. Whew, that was a lot. So, this kind of flaming being of whatever your heart can come up with comes next to you, dealing fire damage on its
entry,
and then you have it for an hour. And it has a whole set of stat blocks, AC of 13, hit points equal to your wildfire spirit's constitution modifier, and at base level it's +2, but that can go up as your proficiency goes up. And then plus your wisdom modifier, and 5 times your level in this class. So at level 2, that's going to be 10 hit points. Plus your wisdom modifier, which is probably 3 or 4, plus the con modifier. So you're looking at 15 hit points on this thing. And it can hover 30 feet, or it has a 20-foot walking speed. It's kind of weird. Why not just make it hover all the time? Why give it a 20-foot walking speed? But that's neither here nor there. It's immune to fire. It's immune to some conditions: charmed, frightened, grappled, prone, restrained. It has dark vision, and it speaks your language. It gains all of its skills go up by 1 when your proficiency bonus increases. As an act, so you have to use your bonus action to use its action.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just takes the dodge. So you can kind of just like put it in idle for a little bit, use your bonus action for whatever, or use your bonus action to do its action. So you can do Flame Seed. That's a +4 to hit, range 30 feet, 1d6 +2 fire damage, which goes up as your proficiency goes up. Or you could do Fiery Teleportation. I think this is the cool part. And this only comes back after a short rest. So does your fiery thing, what the hell is it called again? Your wild shape, take rests. But anyways, the spirit at each willing creature of your choice within 5 feet of it teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. Each creature within 10 feet of the space that the spirit left must succeed a dex save against your spell DC, or take 1d6 +2 fire damage.
The Flame Seed to me makes it feel very powerful for a second level, because it's basically a second attack for you every turn
as a bonus action.
Yeah, but druids don't get that second attack, so they could still cast a spell attack and then Flame Seed.
So
yeah,
I mean, druids are one of those classes that peak very, very early, and then they kind of just drop off. They become useless towards end game. I think this is interesting. I kind of read ahead too. So it creates this base that helps ahead.
Right.
I like it. I think it leads to like... It almost leads to like a pyromancer. You're kind of taking damage yourself to like spread fire, right? So I like it. It's interesting. It's also one of those things that, like, your fiery teleportation, it's in the middle of the shit. You send it in there, and then you just have it teleport out. So it has a fly speed of 30 feet, right? So it can fly into the middle of battle, fiery teleport back out, and now it just does this AoE on everything that's there. And AoE 1d6 on a bunch of kobolds.
Yeah, But two, I can see it like sending in to retrieve a fallen ally, teleport out, because it's protective. It obeys your commands. It's friendly to you and your companions. So I think I would rule that it could pick up a partner and teleport them out.
I think one thing I would change in the fiery teleportation is where it says each creature within 10 feet of the space that it left. I would also add the space that it re-enters. So it only leaves this fiery wake where it leaves. But then, and only because when it comes into the game, it does this,
blows up.
So why would it not when it teleports back in?
I think that's an oversight. Like, they were just so excited about it, forgot to put it in. But yeah, I totally agree that anytime it plants itself somewhere through teleportation means there should be some kind of area of effect fire damage.
But then it does exactly, it negates exactly what you just said, in the fact that if you bring a fallen ally out and it does fire damage, they instantly lose a death saving roll.
But is that, we'd have to talk about, this would have to be pre-game planning.
Because teleporting at level 2 is crazy, first off.
Yeah, are you going to allow this to be a rescue bot that goes in and pull someone out without taking damage?
I think there needs to be some con to it, because it's very OP at the start. But I like it. I think it's super fun.
Yeah, and being able to make it whatever figure you want it to be. As I was reading this, I was thinking about just like a bunch of like low like weasels that blanket the ground, in a square, and flinging themselves, but instead of a flame seed, a flaming weasel. But I like this. I think it's the joy of having a familiar or a pet companion without having to worry about it all the time. I mean, we talked about this a while ago. Do you have a pet or a familiar, and do you actually pay attention to it? The story being Val had a weasel that quickly fell out of any kind of role play, just because it was kind of a pain in the ass. Where this, you get some of those benefits, you get some role playing flavor in there, you get an attack partner. I mean, because like Travis said, you're getting a second attack essentially via your bonus action,
or you're doing like a ton of AoE. I think this is super overpowered, right at level 2.
Well, you only get one of the teleportations.
Right,
okay. One per battle, because you're not going to take a short rest in the middle of battle. So you get one. So make it count. But I like the idea of sending it in and then teleporting out, and then leaving collateral damage there. Bodies in its wake.
Another thing I would change is upon death it explodes. Just like when it teleports out, it explodes. Yeah. When it dies, it's like a little bomb.
Yeah, I mean 1d6 again, like damage, or maybe make it 1d4 since it's extinguishing itself. You can make it smaller.
And then put like a cap. If it dies, it takes like 2 long rests to revive it. So that way people aren't just using it as a little bomb.
Yeah, but I like that idea though. That goes back to that chaotic destruction of this wildfire, the circle of the wildfire. So I could totally see that pyromancer in the back just sending this flaming steed into the middle of this herd, and then blowing it up. I like it. I like the chaos there.
I feel like that using this is going to make the wild shapes that much better. Because, as a druid, I've played a druid up until, level 11. You don't use all of your wild shapes. You know what I mean? You use, 2 a day. Yeah.
I mean, the great thing about Wild Shape is you get that many more hit points, right? So if you whatever you Wild Shape into, you get that hit points. You go down to 0. You still have all of your hit points as the humanoid. So that's kind of the cool thing about that. But also, Wild Shape is a very role play thing, infiltration. You know, like a rat going into the dungeon, checking things out. Where this just gives you another option, and I think options are great. Like if we have the option,
I agree.
Bonus. All right, moving on. So between 2nd and 6th level, you're getting a Wild Shape improvement. So the CR rating in which you can cast or shape into is higher, and you get an ability score improvement. And then we get to level 6 with Enhanced Bond. The bond with your Wildfire Spirit enhances your destructive and restorative spells. Okay, so this is kind of scaffolding, right? We get the Wildfire Spirit, now we're like building onto it, making it better. And that's only four short levels away from when you first get it. Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points while your Wildfire Spirit is summoned, roll a d8, and you gain a bonus to one roll of the spell equal to the number rolled. Let me read that one again. Whenever you cast a spell... Okay, that's where I missed. Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points while your Wildfire Spirit is summoned, not within proximity of you, but just summoned, roll a d8, and you get to add that to one roll of the spell. So if it's like a 2d6 spell, you get to add the d8 to just one of those.
But can you roll that to attack?
Yeah, can you add it to the hit?
Yeah.
The attack to hit? Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points while your Wildfire Spirit is summoned, roll a d8. So you do it as you cast the spell. You gain a bonus to one roll of the spell equal to the number rolled. In addition, when you cast a spell with a range other than self, the spell can originate from you or your Wildfire Spirit. That's kind of cool. I think I would almost add it to hit.
And well,
or to roll
or to damage, because
to hit, to damage, or to heal.
Interesting. So I would, as a DM, I would make the rule you got to call it before you're going to do it. So much like what is sharpshooter?
Yeah.
The one where you take 5 off the attack, but you add 10 damage.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, it is sharpshooter.
You got to call it before you hit.
Yeah.
Before you roll the to hit. Yeah, I think I'd rule it the same way.
Because so Fireball is a deck save. Firebolt is a ranged attack. So there are varying degrees of save versus actual attack.
Yeah, because if you have to have the hit, you know, like he's got 3 hit points left. All I have to do is hit.
I would probably, I like it.
I would allow it. I think because you're sacrificing something, right? You're not getting all of it.
I'll allow it.
You're either gonna hit with normal damage, or you're gonna maybe hit and more damage, or you're gonna heal your allies more.
Yeah.
And I like the ability to cast it from your Wildfire Spirit.
I like that. That's flavorful.
That's kind of like, you know, Jester invokes duplicity with her character all the time and can cast from that spectral being of herself. You know, so I like that, being able... You're being in multiple places on the battlefield at once.
But... Okay, so say we're behind a corner. I'm going to send my little spirit out there, shoot the fireball, bonus action, spirit comes back, you're now shooting fireball, and you're blowing up, so you're doing like this...
Yeah, teleport out of there.
Yeah. We could break this.
I like it, though. All right. Let's power through this. Here we go. Flames of Life at 10th level. You gain the ability to turn death into flames of vitality. I like that line.
Yeah.
Again, that phoenix, right? That rebirth, coming back alive. You're turning death into flames of vitality. When a small or larger creature that you can see dies within 30 feet of you or your Wildfire Spirit, You can use your reaction to cause primal flames to spring from the body. When a creature you can see touches these flames, the creature regains hit points or takes fire damage, your choice, equal to 2d10 plus your wisdom modifier. And at 10th level, you're probably looking at a 4 or a 5 wisdom modifier, so 2d10 plus 5. The flames vanish after a creature has touched them or after 1 minute. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, so again, 5 times. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
So, interesting.
Very interesting.
Well, so, okay, when a creature dies, that's the catalyst to this, right?
Yep.
You can use your reaction. So, take this...
Which is an underused...
Yeah, you're not using...
Underused action, right?
You use your reaction maybe 1 out of every 5 turns.
Right.
Okay, but think of it, so an enemy dies within 30 feet of you. You put flames on it. Now, any kind of touch spell or touch heal, like lay on hands, that is going to have to touch this body, the person that touches it is now taking damage. So
there you go. Yeah.
Interesting thought process on damage to it.
Yeah, you better have healing word.
Yeah, it needs to be like, you know,
because yeah, if it is like a key NPC or somebody that, you know, the DM is constantly like trying to heal and keep alive, go ahead and do this. Let it sit for 1 minute.
But then,
I like that.
but so say healing word, I would rule that healing word, once the person's up, you're going to take that damage.
Oh shit!
Right? Like,
yeah,
totally.
But extinguishing the flame after that.
Yes.
So
yes.
Interesting. Words like a D4. Like, it's not a lot. It gets you up.
But that's also dies. So that's dies. They say dies.
Yeah, but how often do we kill a creature, take it to 0?
But you're very clear. But you're very clear when you drop. You're unconscious. So if a player drops, right, they're unconscious. They're not dead. So you can't use the Flames of Life on a player unless they're dead. But so take it this way. So say your tank is in battle, kills a creature, it's dead. You put a healing Flames of Life, heal. Now the tank can just touch it and get the health back. Right.
So you have like little healing stations where all these dead bodies are.
I'm digging that. I'm really digging this class.
You could do this 5 times, roughly, depending on your modifier. So you drop one, boom, do it. Drop one over there, boom, do it. Now you have like little bases you can run to. Heal, boop, 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 back in the game, man.
Yeah.
And 2d10,
that's a lot.
Plus 5-ish. That's better than a lot of base level healing, healing spells. That's pretty badass. Flames of Life. But 10th level too, so you're getting up there. You have quite a few hit points. This is gonna
well, you can use it the equal to your wisdom modifier. So say your wisdom modifier is 4. You can use this 4 times in a battle. You regain all of these after a long rest.
Yep.
So if you're fighting a big bad with a bunch of ads,
yeah,
I'm just gonna put all of these little things on here. All right, when you need health, just go touch them. They last for a minute.
Yeah, I think you're definitely using the healing more than the damage. But you could get interesting with the damage.
Yeah,
it takes some strategy, and you have to kind of figure it out key moments. But this is one of the coolest abilities that we've read in a long time.
You could use it as like a trap too. So like you put these little flames. So say an enemy dies in a doorway. You bring this enemy to the doorway. Say you drag it, it dies there, whatever. So dead body is in the doorway. You put flames there. To get through that doorway, you now have to cross through the flames. Dude, I am loving this so much.
It's chaotic, right? It's out of the blue. It's something you haven't seen before.
Yeah,
and I think it's all. Yeah.
I really, really like it.
All right, we have one more thing here with the Druid. The 14th level, we get Blazing Endurance. The bond with your Wildfire Spirit is exceptionally strong. Even fatal blows only fuel your defiance. I like that word defiance. Again, it's very chaotic. The bond with your Wildfire Spirit is exceptionally strong. Even fatal blows only fuel your defiance. If you drop to 0 hit points and don't die outright, you drop to 1 hit point instead and gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your Druid level. And this is level 14. I did the math. That's 70 hit points. So you come back with 71 hit points. Is that the Phoenix or what?
Dude!
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
And at 14th level, you have a shit ton of hit points. It's going to be hard to die outright.
Well, yeah, so
on one hit, because you're not making any death saves because you come back to 1.
So to die outright, you have to, how we play it is you have to go halfway. So say you have 100 hit points. If you go negative 50 hit points, you're dead. Instant kill.
Right. Yeah,
so
you're tough to do.
Yeah, you're at 1 hit point. Say somebody crits and does 51 hit points, you die. You're instantly dead. Man,
but wait,
there's more. There's more.
So you come back with 71 hit points, and each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you that you can see takes fire damage equal to 2d10 plus your Druid level, which is 14 at this point. So 2d10 plus 14 fire damage. Once you use this, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
That is nuts, dude.
This is chaotic, man. That's insane. This is Vinny grabbing a Serac and jumping into the pool of lava, kind of falling on your sword to protect your party, right?
Yeah.
Run in, and I know I'm coming back, guys.
I'm making this character. I already got it. He's gonna be just bald, no hair anywhere, because he goes on fire all the fucking time. And he's got maybe some fire scars here and there, like arms are burned up. Oh, dude, yes, I'm doing this. And he doesn't really wear clothes. Maybe just like a little fireproof, like singlet or something.
Fire retardant singlets.
They make those, I've heard.
Yeah, I think this pairs. It's different than like the Aberrant Mind and the Lurker in the Deep. Those were like really kind of spooky and ooh la la, ooh, kind of like out there. This is just chaos. This is like I'm in your face, fire, explosions. Like we're on the set of Die Hard, man. Shit's just blowing up. I love it.
I was thinking the same thing, Adam. The gods we know may run into a circle of wildfire druid. I'm going to add 10 of these. There's going to be 10 of these. It's going to be a cult of wildfire druids that just burn shit.
And they're all one-uppers.
They one-up each other.
Oh, man.
I love this.
Yeah, so that's the last of the circle boons that you get, and that's at 14th level. You get some ability scores improvements. You get, eventually your Arc Druid, where you have unlimited number of wild shapes. That's at level 20. But I think this is, I thought the Aberrant Mind and the Lurker in the Deep were pretty cool. But I think you're right, man. This one's really fun.
Yeah, this is my favorite so far. Love it.
I want to see it played.
Way too powerful. That's what I don't like.
I don't think it is.
It's fun. It feels way too powerful.
I think this is a druid that's going to die a lot. This is a druid that is going to kill itself a lot.
Yeah. So you get that. So
it's
Flames of Life and Blazing Endurance is 10th and 14th level. So you're getting up there. Those didn't seem too overpowered, but just like really cool.
Yeah.
But again, I'd like to see him in play. I want to see him in play and see if they are really powered, because I think Travis might be onto something. They could be like this hidden overpowered ability, and now all of a sudden you're wrecking shit.
But that fixes a druid then at that level, because druid overpowered at 1 through 5, yes. Druid overpowered at 5 through 15, absolutely not. Because your 20th level ability for a druid, you can wild shape as many times as you want. Cool. Again, haven't used all of my wild shapes in 14 fucking levels.
Yeah.
I'm glad you let me just go ahead and wild shape whenever the fuck I want.
Yeah. So again, I want to see this in play. If you've played, here's a shout out to chat anywhere. If you've played this, let us know if you've gotten into any big shenanigans with it or blew up your DM's game. If it's overpowered at all. But I think this is my favorite one. I would love to see a character do this. I would love to play this. Yeah. All right. Any final words, guys? I think we're gonna hold off on the onomancy. You know, we went long with both of these, rightfully so. They were really cool, and we were digging them. So we'll hold off on the onomancy. That'll come next week, maybe. We'll see. Either way, we got through most of them. Any final words, final thoughts on any of the Twilight Domain or the Circle of Wildfire?
No, I would say. Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
I was gonna say I want to play both. I think this one, it would be really fun. I'm just afraid that it could be really easily abused very early on, and that's why I like the cleric one a little better. It just feels more appropriate.
Feels spoopy.
A little.
I'd like to see these two characters together, like a Twilight and a Wildfire.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this kind of calming, healing, destructive healing. That would be a good juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob, what do you got? Last words?
I want to plug something here. I think we should do playtests of these. I think we should do one-shots of these just to playtest them, and then we can give our feedback. If this is something you're interested in, join our Discord. Go to twitch.tv/FeatherFallTT and join our Discord. I think somebody just joined just now to play in our one-shots. So go join our Discord. Let's talk. Let's continue this conversation. I've sent a tweet to Chris Perkins. I know he's going to respond regarding the Twilight Divine Strike and your spiritual weapon. But he's a busy guy. Maybe later.
Is he?
But we can all talk in our Discord, and let's playtest these. I'm down for this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would put together a special game where we're like 15th level so that we can get to some of these cooler abilities, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20th because shit just gets crazy. But at 15th level, you're going to get most of the awesome abilities here.
We've done a one-shot at 20, and it's very, very
rough.
hard. And the following reason is that you don't know your character. Like, if you haven't played a character from like maybe 15, whatever, you don't know all of the things you can do at level 20. Right. So everybody's sitting there like, because you can do a lot. Yeah. Everybody's sitting there reading through the rules and all of that stuff. Right. I do just want to say Patriots scored again on a defensive touchdown.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'd like to see the ass rack fight though with these characters. I'd like to go back and redo that. That'd be fun.
I'd do that. Let's do that.
Go back and let's do it. Can we be like level 14 or 15 and not?
Oh, you guys want to be level 14 or 15? Why not 9? How'd that work out at 9?
Hey,
it worked out really well until
saved the day.
We warped out.
That's true.
Until a certain druid wished her way out of there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's all good. All right, guys and girls. We're going to end this. Thanks for hanging out and listening to us ramble about these subclasses. We enjoy it. I think it gets my creative juices flowing sitting here and breaking down possible characters with you guys. I love it dearly. And chat, thanks for hanging out. Adam, as Lamas, thanks for being in chat, playing devil's advocate for us tonight. FeatherFall Tabletop, you can catch us back on Tuesday at 6:30 Central Time, I think is our start time, with the Gods We Know homebrew 5e stuff from Adam and crew. They are very active in our Discord, so if you want to get in touch with them, hang out with us. Wednesdays we'll be here. You'll see the three of us plus 2 for our not Waterdeep anymore, excuse me. It is the Ghosts of the Past 5e homebrew. Again, post Waterdeep Dragon Heist. We're taking our characters on the road. And then again, next Thursday here at TableTalk, where we may cover Onomancy, but I know we got some other cool stuff from DM's Guild that we want to jump into.
Maybe both.
Yeah, maybe one of each. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. We'll see. But either way, hang out with us. You'll be there. We'll talk. We'll become best friends. And we'll talk about D&D. It's happening, guys. It's happening. All right? I'm done. I'm spent.
Good talk.
I'm out.
Good talk, T.
Bye.
Bye.